While returning from the dungeon, Hero Luck suddenly expels Kai from the party, to which Kai looks at everyone else and immediately realizes that the decision had already been made. Bria, the final warrior, has a big smile on her face. Rick, the sage, also looks very happy, while the elf, the archer, Free just shrugs his shoulders. On the other hand, the priestess, Sylvie, keeps her eyes down as she stands ready to be a part of the upcoming final party, to which Kai reminds them that he is always the one who goes ahead and scouts the way, makes a map of the entire dungeon, finds the traps and sets them. After this, Rick clearly states that now all they need is firepower. Hearing this, Kai becomes completely silent, because he understands that the person taking his place had already been prepared, and he was not even aware of it, but Rick turns the tables on him and says that all the loot found during the party is the property of the entire party, so Kai is trying to steal it. Kai calls them shameless, because he has risked his life countless times for this party without any warning, so he will not give away all his things like this. However, he also says that the hero has kicked him out of the party, so looks no longer have any influence on him, to which Rick stands there with the second arrow aimed at him. The next moment Kai starts feeling a strange burning and numbness in the small scratch on his face. Bria tries to say something despite being in such a bad state, but Rick angrily shouts that Kai was never a part of their party, immediately after which he kicks Kai in the stomach with full force, to which Kai takes off all his things several times until he falls to the ground, to which Bria, without wasting a moment, starts taking off all of Kai's stuff. Gives. He had gone behind Pete, so Bria did not notice him. Seeing this, Kai takes a sigh of relief for a moment, but then Rick's eyes read on that string. Saying this, he throws it on the ground and crushes it with his foot. The next moment the pendant breaks completely and the small locket attached to it also gets shattered to pieces. He keeps watching it break because this was the last trace of his entire family left in the world. But Bria is still not satisfied. While pressing her, she keeps asking him to apologize again and again. Bria keeps laughing. Free insults him by calling him a dirty person, and even Luke talks as if all these insults are happening only because Kai is of no use to the party. Only Sylvie shouts loudly for them to stop, but Kai feels her voice coming from very far away. Even after being killed, the presence of a high-ranking monster was clearly felt inside her, but at this time she was not running like a hunter, but like a prey herself. If the trap is removed, then the other one will kill him immediately. But only one thief present in the party dismantles all those traps easily. After which all his monsters also start getting defeated one by one. Nevertheless, the hero's party finally reaches the rooftop of the tower. It reaches. White sticky web wraps around its wings. He forcefully pulls him to the rooftop and turns the whole fight from air to a 1-against-6 fight on the ground. It is from here that the tide of the battle begins to change completely. The hero charges reckless towards him without thinking. On which Ayers blasts him directly with dark fire. For a moment it seems that the entire hero party is about to collapse. But then the same thief moves forward. His entire body glows with red light. And he crosses the entire distance between the two within one heartbeat. Now it is no longer in his power to eliminate the hero. On which she forcefully opens her badly broken wings and jumps down from the rooftop. While running, he hears the angry voice of the hero from behind, who is ordering the thief to stop him at any cost. The whole body feels heavy. On one side he is feeling less and less from the cold, and on the other side his head is burning like a fire. Seems like so for him this road would have been a sign of safety, but for an injured demon like Ayers, this road could have become his den, on which Ayers gets scared and tries to cross the road and go to the other side. But Hero's fear had weakened his senses so much that he could not feel anything around him. Then suddenly a man's voice reaches his ears. 5 bandits stand in front. While 2 bandits are roaming between the trees on both sides and trying to block his path. So he will spare his life. It seemed a very cruel fate for Jod to end up like this at the hands of common thieves. The only thought that comes to her mind is that if she had to die, she would have died at the hands of a real hero and not in front of that idiot hero from the tower. Kai's skill causes the bandit leader to scream in pain and fight his way back, holding his ruined hand. The rest of the bandits immediately turn towards Bushies and without any delay, charge at Aros. He had no particular reason to save any demon. After all, Aros was his enemy in the Tower of Ruin, but still, he has no intention of seeing such poor people dragging any human or demon. The bandit leader tries to stop Kai by threatening to kill Ayers by his neck. The bandit leader tries to stop Kai by threatening to kill heirs, but Kai first looks at his own body. He had neither armor nor money nor clothes left, so due to that threat everyone goes away. There was no point in doing this. The very next moment, the same red spike goes straight through the right hand of the bandit leader and penetrates inside his head. He instantly falls to the ground and dies. Urs also starts falling down with him, but Kai uses flash tape and catches him in his arms before he falls to the ground. A strong heat is emanating from his body. For a moment, Kai looks at the demon in his arms and starts wondering to himself what he should do. What's going on? Till a moment ago, he was trying to kill her, but now his feelings had changed because this enemy had fought with full pride, and this alone made him better than those people who called themselves Kai's ally. After this, Kai very carefully laid Eris on the ground and looked at the nearby road. The cool evening breeze had slowly started spreading in the forest. Kai himself could bear this cold, but with a half-naked body. He had no intention of spending the whole night there, so he starts searching the bodies of the dead bandits. From there he picks up their clothes and some useful weapons so that he can continue his journey. Then he returns back to Airs, but his fever has still not gone down at all. At which point Kai checks by touching his forehead and understands that his body is really very hot. He remembers that he had injured his wing at the tower, but no status effect was used that could affect a demon. Moreover, tools did not work on demons except some special tools like sticky web, hence this fever was due to some other reason, perhaps infection, or some disease spread from the wound, although Kai secretly hopes that it is not contagious, i.e. a spreading disease. After this, Kai stands up and goes to the one bandit whom he had deliberately killed alive. That man was left only to answer the questions. He was saved only to answer the questions. His condition had completely deteriorated, but even when Kai pulled him up by the collar, hatred was clearly visible in his eyes. Kai did not pity him at all because according to him, people who rob and kill others have no right to complain when they die. Anyway, Kai hated the thief very much. In the beginning, the bandit refuses to tell anything, on which Kai slaps his palm without saying anything. He thrusts his knife through Kai, but when that doesn't work, he uses Medusa Eye. The next moment, the bandit completely freezes in place, then Kai removes that effect, and at the same moment, the man's remaining courage also vanishes due to fear. Eventually he breaks down and confesses everything, telling that his gang controls the entire area and 15 of his men are still alive. Their hideout is inside an old fort built between two mountains to the west. Although the inside of that fort has now become a dungeon, the outer walls are still usable. Finally, in exchange for saving his life, the bandit offers to tell him a secret entrance to go inside the fort, but after listening to him, Kai immediately understands that he is speaking Zoot, on which Kai kills him immediately without saying a word and cleans the blood on his blade on his dead body. After this, he looks towards the demon girl lying on the road, burning with high fever. At the moment he has only one option left. He will first take her to the strong ghoul of thieves, on which Kai will pick up the injured demon in his arms and move forward inside the forest. It seems that on the other hand, the party that had left him is returning with the reward of clearing the Tower of Ruin. Rick was in a good mood because the reward of this mission turned out to be much bigger than expected. The same crooked smile is clearly visible on his face, but in the whole party, Sylvie was the only one who was not at all happy. After walking silently for a long time, she finally answers the question buried in her mind. She says that she has killed demon from the town. He took the payment for killing, but that demon had escaped alive, on which Bria brushes him off without any hesitation. She says that by reporting that the mission has been completed, the people of the town will remain calm, they will also get a reward and there will be no time wasted in searching for the demon which is probably already dead. Not only this, Bria also says that even if the demon actually remains alive and attacks a human later, it will not make any difference to her. It doesn't matter because those who die will not be able to tell the truth of the false report to anyone. On hearing this, Salawi's face turns completely pale. Salawi was still quite young, but the Church of Raiden had sent her to the hero party because she was one of their Hala, was one of the best priestesses in that she had a very shy nature. She always spoke very thoughtfully and before saying anything, she would see the reaction of people more powerful than her. On the other hand, this honesty of hers always irritated Bria, to which she repeats the same thing again, that they had no other choice. Rig also immediately agrees with her, while Fry says that even if some people die in front of the big goal, it doesn't matter to him. After hearing all this, Sylvie's face becomes even more sad. At last she silently bows her head and suppresses her words on the same road on which they were walking. The same road had brought very painful memories for Kai because only a day earlier, around this very place, he had been thrown out of the party. At the thought of this, Kai's face flashes in front of Sylvie. She is also used to the cruelty of other people and also that at that time she was not able to do anything even if she wanted to. Then she says softly that now without Kai, their journey will be more difficult than before. On hearing this, everyone else looks at him as if he has said something strange. Lug is the first to answer. He says that now Rick can open treasure chests with magic, and in the next town, a new sage is also going to join his party, so now his attack power will increase even more than before. On which Bria also supports his point and says that he has just removed an unnecessary burden from himself, Luke Pori. He had become such a center of the party that even members older than him believed in everything he said. At the age of just 15, he was chosen a hero and his talent in Sod as well as magic was amazing. Not only this, his personality and his behavior were such that even kings, ministers and queens were impressed by him. Even his political engagement with the princess of a big kingdom was fixed. First, Sylvie was attracted to him just by looking into his eyes. She used to get nervous, but now her thinking had completely changed. Some time ago, she had seen Lux secretly meeting her at night, even though she was already engaged to someone else. From that day onwards, she started noticing Lux's face. She had begun to notice his hidden real personality. She was beginning to understand how well Luke used his calm face and sweet words. And the ease with which she released Kai today destroyed the last illusions left in Sylvie's mind. Now she clearly understood that they all really believed that it was the right decision to remove Kai from the court. This realization leaves her shaken to the core. Because of the rear support, Sylvie did Kai's work. Luke and Bria always fought in the front line, Rick and Free focused only on attack, but Kai stayed behind them and kept an eye on the entire battle. He understood the flow of every situation, covered the mistakes of others, handled the sudden problems and kept the entire battlefield stable with the right tools, right timing, and sharp judgment. He used to do the same thing during the journey as well. She used to check the terrain, be the first to notice the danger and eliminate every problem before others could understand. Sylvie always thought that others would also understand her importance, but now she realizes that they never thought like that. Perhaps that is why they were able to leave her so easily. Kai was not only useful, but he used to bear the entire burden of every battle and the most uncertain part of every journey. Sylvie herself was never the person to take the first step. And now the only person who was always able to handle the unseen dangers was gone from their party forever. On the other hand, Kai, still carrying the demon girl in his arms, finally reaches the thieves' strong goal. Once there, he sees that the place was exactly as the bandit had described. He looks towards Potier's, his fever had still not subsided at all. Throughout the way, Kai used to use cleanse on him whenever he got a chance. Every time his condition would get better for some time, but after some time, the fever would come back again. Seeing this, Kai understands a lot. Linus does not heal anyone in reality, he only removes the active effects. If it was reducing the fever for some time, then it meant that the disease was caused by some unnatural effect. Kai thinks that if he had a powerful purification spell, then maybe he could cure him, but he could not raise a demon and go to the church branch to ask for help, so now he had only one other option left, if this fort really had a connection with someone. Thinking that Kai first sticks Ares inside a hollow tree, then covers it well so that its shape is not visible from outside. After this, taking advantage of the darkness, he goes around the fort and starts checking its security. The watchmen looked alert, but in reality they were just guards in name. Kai reaches the ditch without being noticed by anyone, and Wall uses the transparent skill to see the situation inside. Most of the thieves were gathered inside the fort, some were fast asleep, some were playing cards, and only 3 people were still standing on watch. At least this time the dying bandit had told the same thing to be true. On which Kai uses his movement skill and reaches the top of the wall, but the landing is a little faster than he expected. Hearing the sound, one crouches and looks down. It seems that in the very next moment, Kai inserts a red cannon through his neck and the donkey falls straight down. As soon as his fence falls, there is no noise in the entire fort, but instead of running away, the thieves run towards the gatehouse. Seeing this, a slight smile appears on Kai's face because this is what he wanted. After this, Kai comfortably steps inside the firelight. First of all, a thief sees him and gives a loud chill as soon as he hears his voice. Other people also remember him. The fort's walls, ground, and all the thieves standing in front are covered with thick frost. When the storm ends, all the thieves standing there are reduced to ice statues. After this, Kai moves quickly and eliminates all the remaining lookouts one by one. Then he lowers the drawbridge from inside and returns back to the same hollow tree. After reaching there, Kai sees that the demon girl is still breathing very weakly and is not even fully conscious, on which he picks her up in his arms again, takes her inside the fort, finds the cleanest bed there and very carefully places her on it. After this, Kai begins to search through the thieves' belongings throughout the fort until he finds some clothes he can wear and some useful gear, at which point he takes them all with him and then starts moving deeper into the fort. Finally, in the back part of the fort, where there used to be a church chapel, he sees a dark whirlpool in place of the old altar. It was actually a dungeon gate. Seeing this, Kai goes inside without a moment's hesitation. On the other hand, when the demon girl's eyes finally open, Kai is sitting and resting in the same room, leaning against the wall. He had deliberately kept a little distance between them because if she had attacked him as soon as she opened her eyes, he would have had time to escape. Eris immediately recognizes him as soon as she sees him. Her entire body becomes tense and her eyes become brighter than before. Seeing this, Kai understands everything. Her illness was completely over. The spirit water from the healing spring in the dungeon had done its job, but Eris doesn't thank him. Instead, she continues to stare at Kai and clearly shows that she remembers very well who he is, the same hero party thief who had destroyed all his tropes, stopped his monsters, trapped his wings in the web and injured him right when he had almost killed the hero, which Kai did without any excuse. Kai accepts this, then Eris suddenly notices another strange thing. This time, both of them were able to understand each other easily, whereas this had never happened before. Kai remembers that the language of all the demons he had fought till now always sounded like an unknown language. Seeing this, Eris tells him the truth. She says that the Raiden god's blessing which Hero and the people associated with him get is actually a curse. The same blessing fills humans with hatred for demons and also gives them the disease by understanding demon language. On hearing this, Eris becomes completely calm because it had only one meaning. Now he was no longer counted among the hero's companions, after which Eris asks him the most direct question. If it is so, then why did he save her life? But Kai doesn't immediately answer. First he tells her where they are all this time and what happened while she was unconscious. He explains that this is the same old pod that the thieves were using as their hideout. All those who attacked her are now dead, but hearing this Eris becomes even more suspicious. She asks why would a human kill another human for a demon, which is frowned upon by many. In the voice he says that those thieves were not his people, but Eris contradicts him. According to him, even the heroes are not much different from them. Humans harm others whenever they want and then hide it behind good words, in response to which Kai says that the first threat to humanity came from the demons and the Demon King, but Eris immediately says that if the same question is asked to any demon, he will tell a completely opposite story. In the end, neither of them will tell the other about themselves. Unable to explain, Eris then repeats the same question as to why he saved her life. This time Kai answers that he did it all on impulse. He couldn't bear to see such cheap people ruining his last moments. Hearing this, Eris reminds him what kind of enemy he is. She used the Tower of Ruin to spread miasma and tried to weaken the surrounding human areas. Hearing this, Kai has no idea. There is no clear answer left, then Eris puts forward another bitter guess in front of him. She says that perhaps Kai saved her life so that in the wake of thieves, she herself could hug his body, but on hearing this, Kai immediately denies that thing completely. Ronnie's point was that Eris appears confused rather than angry. She says that such thinking is very common among humans. Then she also adds that during the battle, the same sage from Kai's old party was looking at him with exactly the same eyes. Hearing this, Kai immediately remembers Rick's face and along with that he remembers Sylvie in his mind. Then he also remembers the broken pendant and the last trace of his family. The expression on the face of the one whom she had lost forever changes completely and Eris immediately notices this. She says that surely the reason for her separation from the hero party cannot be that small only, to which Kai tells her not the whole story but a simplified version of it. He says that the others underestimated his combat value and considered him useless and expelled him from the party, but Ayres refuses to accept this as the whole truth in his eyes. In that battle in the tower, the most dangerous person was not the hero but Kai. The hero definitely appeared to be Flash, but in reality it was Kai who cornered him. On which Kai tries to brush off his words. He says that he is only versatile, not powerful, but Ayres is still not satisfied. She says that no normal master thief can use the same skills that he had shown in the battle, the web that binds his wings, such status effects, which they were also working on monsters, who should not have been affected by them. All this was beyond the control of any normal master thief. Hearing this, Kai lets out a long sigh and finally decides to tell everything. First of all he asks her name, to which Ayres first tells her full official title in the Demon King's army, but then she herself shortens it to just Ayres. She also says with a slight smile that perhaps this title will not last long with her. Because if he fails to protect the Tower of Ruin, either his rank will be taken away, or his own army will kill him before that. Hearing this, Kai says that this is a very harsh rule, on which he says in a calm voice. Ayres replies that the demon army runs only on the strength of power. After this Kai starts telling his truth. He says that his status seems fine at first glance, but as soon as he meets everyone starts considering him a burden on the party, but Ayres still says that this does not answer his abilities seen in battle, to which Kai accepts that she is right. He was not a normal master thief, it was just that little star attached to his class and skill. What would have changed everything would have been Kai's own ability. It was here that he could also use the powers of monsters in other classes. Ayres could not express her surprise upon hearing this. Despite being a demon, this thing seemed completely impossible to her too, but Kai was just stuck. Cold resistance was given to him from a slime, while freezing storm was an ability stolen from a frost dragon. During many years of continuous fighting he had acquired all this. The more Ayres listens to all this, the more clearly the whole truth comes to him. In almost every situation, the same skills could not give him that much advantage. Saying this, Kai ends his talk there, then he comfortably sits on the floor, opens his collar, and exposes his neck completely, after which he looks into Ayres' eyes. Why does he take a silent sigh? Then Ayres asks him if he wants a hero party. After hearing this, Kai tells him the whole truth for the first time. He says that being thrown out of the party was not something he could never forgive, but after that there was a family photo which was always inside his pendant, but Rick left the same pendant under his feet. Kai tells that after regaining consciousness on the road, he had searched for that pendant a lot, then even after killing the bandits, he searched for it again, but it was never found. When he uses his skill, his whole body hurts. He feels as if things are being forcefully imposed on his body and mind, which are not really his, yet till now he had endured everything only with the help of revenge. But now she no longer had the strength to live for support, but the Ayres immediately just shakes it. She clearly says that she will never kill the one who saved her life. After this, she starts telling her own story. She tells that she slowly reached the top on the strength of the daughter of a demon woman and a human man. After many years of hard work, she had built the Tower of Ruin with her own hands, but the person who helped in ruining that tower is in front of her today. Was sitting, and was now asking for death like a coward. Kai had this point that Kai left him. At the same moment Redden God's blessing also broke from him, so if he needed strength now, then demon side was the fastest way for him, to which Kai says that Ayres himself has also failed. His position in the Demon King's army will also be in danger now, but Ayres even today wants to reach the Demon King and kill him with his own hands, but Ayres is on this thing. She also doesn't panic at all. She says that in the Demon Lands, the Demon King also rules only until someone more powerful than him comes forward. The day someone becomes stronger than him, if he joins her, then she will help him complete his revenge. Hearing this, the heaviness in Kai's heart suddenly becomes light. He laughs a little, then looks at Ayres and agrees with her. He says that if the world really keeps them in such a secret, then it would be okay. She was trying to do this, but she had already learned the most bitter truth. But the family photo kept inside it could never come back, yet she keeps trying because her heart was only filled with guilt. Kai B, who looked like the least noble, actually turned out to be the most honest person. Thinking this, CLV apologizes to the empty room and keeps using restoration magic again and again with tears, while on the other hand, to clear the Tower of Ruin after Luke and his rank party, almost all the members of the party there appear happy, but Sylvie still stands there and her heart is filled with only guilt. In the meantime a new member of their party also reaches there. She was a sage of about 20 years who was not her husband. Graham Alice explains, coming up to her shoulders, to which Alice immediately praises this formation, and Luke is very happy to hear her, but Rick was more interested in something else. His eyes kept roaming on Alice's body, while Luke, on the other hand, sees Luke getting affected by Alice's words, and Sylvie suddenly has a bad thought in her mind: if anyone else is also thrown out of the party like Kai, then maybe the next number. After this, the party leaves Nesca the same day, and reaches the troll cave the next morning. Amzor's monsters have also started to move out, although for an A-rank party, handling this dungeon should still not be a big deal. In the beginning, the new party formation seems quite strong, on which Luke even praises him near the entrance more than expected, but it is in this confidence that he makes his first mistake. While moving forward, there is a very thin wire spread on the wet stones of the cave. Luke steps on it without noticing. There are no scouts in Luke's party. Hearing this, Luke quickly replies that Rick can now detect traps with the help of magic and can also open treasure chests, in response to which Alice asks a direct question: that if it is so, then why was no one checking the traps till now? Hearing this, Luke reacts: so many traps. Seeing Rick himself, he starts talking. Alice, on the other hand, is surprised to see this. She says that trolls use traps. It is common knowledge, so everyone should have known this before entering the troll union. Rick laughs and brushes it off as he will not be able to sink completely, but then Fry suddenly gets irritated and lashes out at Alice. She says that she should not behave as if she considers the party more than her own members. Hearing this, Alice directly says sorry without arguing. But then there is another thing which she had never planned. In the end, Luke gives this work to Free. Free also agrees without refusing. His dexterity was quite high and it was not too difficult for him to remove simple traps. At the moment, so much this was enough for the party to move forward, after which Free started disarming the traps one by one. Seen from above, it looked exactly like the first trap, but this time another thin line was coming out of the release mechanism and going to the fake pit marked below. Then Sylvie looks up and sees a small hole in the ceiling. At the same moment, she remembers what Kai had taught her. CLV is unable to stop herself and screams loudly. Hearing a sudden sound, Free gets scared. She goes and accidentally cuts the wrong wire. The next moment a spear comes out at high speed from the fake pit below. It misses her face just a little and did not even go straight into the ceiling. She immediately points towards the same hole made in the ceiling. It was actually a sound tube. The sound of the spear coming out had spread through the entire dungeon through that path. That is, the trap was not only to kill them, but was also made to give a signal to the trolls. No one in the entire party was making a map of the dungeon. Before she could think anything else, loud roars of trolls start echoing from both the front and the back. Hearing this, Alice gets completely shocked. She can't believe that no one was doing mapping, and she could detect traps, but she did not have the ability to keep the mapping spell active continuously. At the same time, Alice nervously grabs Sylvie's shoulders and asks why their party is in such a bad condition. How did it happen? But Luke immediately interrupts her, saying that now is not the time for discussion. She explains that trolls also have a skill like other dungeon monsters, with which they can ignore the traps made for intruders. It was clear from Luke's face that he did not want to listen to Kai's words again, but now he has no room left to show pride. Feeling better, he immediately starts giving orders. He says that Bria and Rick would take over one side, while he himself would make his way to the other with Alice. Fry would provide support where it was most needed, and Sylvie would take it upon herself to try and keep everyone alive. But then fear stops her once again, so she just says that healing both sides at once is pushing her to the limit. If everyone spreads out too far, she has strengthening magic and proper healing. Her heavy sword should have easily subdued such monsters, but every time the trollage dodges her attacks with awkward and slow moments, it seems as if they already know where her sword is going to land, which Rick attacks from behind. Fires a water blast, but only one troll realizes that these are not normal trolls but variant trolls. Sylvie soon understands that because of this number cave, those trolls had got water resistance, but their second skill was even more dangerous. They could preempt every physical attack that came in front of them. Meanwhile, Luke turns around in anger, that it goes straight through the troll's face. After this, she shouts at Luke saying that stop panicking and think of a way quickly. Hearing this, Sylvie controls herself and explains her point in a clear voice. She says stop trying to attack the trolls' attack reading skill at one time. Their job is only to draw their attention towards themselves. Both of them agree to her, on which Luke and Bria start pulling many trolls towards themselves. Now all the trolls become busy in reading the movements of only those two. As soon as this happens, she also warns Alice that they both of them stop using water magic immediately, because it was clear that this cave was giving the trolls an advantage against water magic. Hearing this, Rick immediately starts using Rock Bullet, while Alice activates lightning magic. This time their spells have more effect than before. Finally, Rick says the same thing which was going on in everyone's mind. He says that if the fight continues like this, then before the end of the battle, his and Alice's MP will be completely exhausted. Luke, who was stuck in panic till some time ago, finally starts thinking like a hero again, on which Bria uses her defensive magic. The next moment a lot of light appears in front of him. A large wall is formed, which also keeps moving along with her. It prevents the wall trollers from coming directly towards her, and also reduces most of the damage coming on her. On the other hand, Syl will know exactly when Bria's magic wall will end, so she can stop worrying about it for a few seconds and concentrate completely on the breakthrough, on which Sylvie continuously puts attack and defense buffs on Luke. Immediately after this, Luke uses the clock acceleration spell. Next, the moment Luke and Frey's second would end first, meaning they only had a very small chance. Their strategy seems to be working. The trolls on Luke's side start falling faster than ever before. Luke, Frey, Rick and Alice move back together, and reach the last four-way intersection where they could. Now they only had the left path left, and that was the worst path, because it was completely unexplored and no one had even checked it. At about the same time clock acceleration it ends, exactly 3 seconds later, Bria's defensive wall also disappears, after which she uses physical shield magic. Bria smiles despite the pain, grabs her sword with both hands and starts fighting again. By then she has also understood the troll's reading skills to a great extent. Now only a few small feints make great use of their timing. A green storm spreads throughout the corridor, and there he blows up the existing trolls and clears the path for a while, as soon as he gets the chance. Luke is the first to take the round. Rick, Frey and Alice also start running behind him. They are all fast runners. Running at full speed in an unscouted dungeon path was almost like suicide, but if he is left behind, there will be no one left to heal the party, so he takes the turn there too. Although his speed was less than the rest, his breathing increased in a few seconds. And then Sylvie is coming in her way. Without saying anything, Bria suddenly gives a strong push on Sylvie's buttocks with both hands. All this happens so suddenly that Sylvie does not even get a chance to understand. She is thrown forward with all her strength. The whole area collapses together. When Sylvie opens her eyes, there is sand on her face and hands. For a moment she thinks that maybe she is still falling, but then she remembers everything, and she gathers herself and stands in the middle of the basin, with a dead Hal Rain lying at her feet, after which Luke explains that after the collapse, the rest everyone had become unconscious. He was the only one who was conscious, and he started that Hal Aaron with his oh and slowly everyone starts regaining consciousness. Then she asks the second question, who was Kai, and the most important thing is why all the people in the party suddenly become silent on hearing his name, on which she first tries to make a free speech. That situation was given a little boost in Purwatar because at that time he felt that this would save the party from disintegration. But in the end the hero of his own party threw him out because of him the entire team was becoming unstable. Hearing this, Free calls him a rotten person. But Alice does not deny this either. Tells the whole truth. She says that Kai did not leave the party on his own will. Rather, he was fired without any warning. Not just that. All his gear was also taken away from him. And then kicked him out of the monster-filled row party so he wouldn't have to pay his share. Luke immediately denies this, but this time there was no confidence in his voice as before. Alice then explains to them what it really means to officially expel someone from the hero party. Upon hearing this, Luke clearly explains that Luke had no idea about this. But Rick already knew all this. This becomes clear the moment Alice looks at him. The next moment Rick becomes his own. He starts complaining about money. He expected to get more than just its magic. Hearing this, even Alice remains completely stunned for a moment. But in the next moment only count is visible on his face. Then she turns to Luke again and asks if he can really stand being with someone who thinks like this. Once. But Luke again repeats the same old excuse. He says that Kai was of no use anyway. This time Ailesh clearly rejects him too. She says that the truth is very clear from what she has seen so far in this dungeon. Kai may not have been the most powerful Adhikar, but he was definitely a first-rate scout. He used to do his work so perfectly that other people gradually forgot to notice his hard work. Ultimately, Luke's illusion is completely shattered. He angrily says that his decision is the final decision. This is his party and it doesn't matter if one person leaves. He is the Raiden God's chosen hero. Therefore, this disaster is also just another test for him from God. And by crossing this too he will prove that he deserves S rank. Having said this, Luke takes out his sword and points towards a crack in the rock wall ahead from where another tunnel is leading. He says that they will either get out that way or if necessary, kill the first dungeon boss. Having said this, he moves ahead without waiting for anyone. Everyone else tries to stop him, even argue with him, but in the end they are forced to follow him, because such a party could not survive without its hero, and Luke knew this very well. After a lot of persuasion, the others finally convince Luke to give up the idea of clearing the entire dungeon, for now everyone just wanted to get out of here, so the party starts moving forward again, to which Sylvie cannot find them, in response to which Alice explains that recovery springs are not in any fixed place, they are formed where the Redden God's power enters the dungeon, so to wash them, accurate pacing, mapping and calculation is required. Hearing this, no one is left with anything left to say. How does one know the exact number? In response to which Alice in turn asks him why he himself does not know this. On hearing this, Salawi again remembers Kai. He always used to track the MP of the entire party with a very small error, and accordingly the entire journey was planned. He was also disarmed incorrectly, and the troll ambush begins, at which point Sylvie tells everyone to slowly retreat. She advises them to walk back to the last four-way intersection and take the left path from there. If her memory was correct, that path will take them in the right direction. The rest of Rick and Alice's situation gets worse. Eventually Rick admits that he only has about a fifth of his MP left, while Alice also says that her MP is now at. After some time, they see another four-way intersection. Why is to come? Now they were realizing again and again that without Kai, none of them knew how to handle the dungeon properly. Now Alice had completely given up trying to be friendly with Rick. Not only this, now he shouts as loudly as Luke and tells Sylvie to run towards him and not back. Hearing this, Sylvie completely she runs forward with strength. The next moment the entire ceiling collapses where she was standing a few seconds ago. While Dust though warns that no one should even think about a long fight, because they all had very little MP left, to which Bria immediately asks Sylvie how far away the exit should be now. Sylvie answers that not too far, the wound is not very deep, but for a few moments the boss troll's full attention is on her. But he leaves. Just seeing this opportunity, everyone else starts moving forward. Rick continues to use trap detection while moving forward. A large group stands blocking the way, at which point Luke and Free have to fight them almost single-handedly, because both sages could not spend their last remaining MP yet. At the same time, Bria shouts loudly from behind that she immediately tells Luke to take the right path. If they go on the path, then only another long passage and then the last junction to reach the exit. Hearing this, Luck immediately attacks B in the middle of the intersection. Immediately after this, Elise calls out to Luck. Luck immediately calls Bria, to which Bria uses a stun strike, causing the boss troll to just a heartbeat. Only lasts for as long as they get. New trolls were constantly blocking their way. Luke had no MP left for hero magic, while Alice only had enough energy left to use one last big spell, at which Luke kept an eye on the burning boss trolls to clear the path ahead. Finally, far enough away, they saw the last four-way junction ahead, causing the entire group to pause for a moment. Hope returns, but in the next moment everything goes big at once. There is no speed left like before. While Bria is also not able to stop the boss troll for long, she uses every fighter skill she has left, but in the end they also end. Now all she had was Rick. Suddenly he says that he has a plan. Hearing this, Luke immediately asks him what that plan is, but Rick goes straight without answering. Glacier uses the spear spell, and the ice spear starts screaming straight through Alice's leg. Seeing this, Rick laughs. He admits that he lied about his remaining MP. He had deliberately saved this last spell for just this time, because Alice now knew a lot. If she survives, Luke may also lose his hero status. And that is the only thing that is most important for him. At that very moment another terrible truth is revealed to Sylvie. Now he realizes that Bria did not come back by mistake. That time she deliberately does not stand in front of the light wall boss troll but instead stands between Alice and the rest of the party. Immediately after this, Bria grabs Sylvie's robe from behind and starts dragging her forcefully from there. Then again I choose myself there. There he puts all the blame on Alice. He says that he asked more questions than necessary and then leaves her there and runs away. Free also follows him without saying anything. On the way to Hannah, only suddenly stops after hearing this. She pulls Sylvie towards herself forcefully and throws the whole truth in her face. She says that Sylvie has no right to be innocent anymore. The day she stood silently and Co gets taken. But in the next moment something changes inside him. She frees herself from Beria's grip with all her strength and says that now she will not add another crime to her list of sins. This time he scolds anyone, but Beria does not answer even a single thing he says and keeps running ahead. On which Rick angrily starts saying the same dirty things again. He talks bad about women and says that if a man spends enough gold, she will run towards him. Alice calls him an idiot as soon as she sees him, but without saying anything, Salawi immediately uses Dispel magic and breaks the ice around Alice's lake. Alice does thank him, but because she knew every second that Balak was about to disappear, she once again moves forward to hold Alice's hand, but instead of pulling her towards herself, Alice pushes her back forcefully, and by going in front of the boss troll herself, she gave Kat only one chance to survive. She shouts loudly and tells Salawi to stay alive at any cost, and at that very moment she completely exposes herself to the monsters. Immediately after this, the boss troll turns towards her with his huge club. One of the trolls raises his flail and is about to attack her while Sylvie remains frozen on the ground with her eyes closed, but the attack never reaches her. When Sylvie again stands with open eyes, the person whom Sylvie never expected to see again is Kai. Kai looks at Sylvie with his cold and frozen eyes and then in a very calm voice just asks her a question. Asks if he is there too this time. Ayers walks slowly past the frozen boss troll and stands next to Kai. As soon as she sees him, Salawi's face turns completely white. She laughs at the sight of his hair and his calm face. He then tells her that most of the trolls frozen there were going to die within a short time anyway. As far as the boss troll was concerned, the reward from killing him was less than the hassle. So he used the random jump skill and sent the boss troll to another part of the dungeon. Gave it. Sylvie was still not able to understand all this properly. Her whole body was trembling and she tried to say something. But Kay interrupts before he can even begin. He says that he has understood everything now. He knows that Sylvie could never stand against Luke and Rick. But he also knows what happened because of his same weakness. Hearing this, Sylvie slowly lowers her eyes and accepts that he is right. On the other hand, Eris is watching all this with disgust. In her eyes, Sylvie was exactly the kind of person who hides behind her weakness and then attributes it to innocence. But this time Kai does not defend Sylvie. Behind Eris, a large purple crystal floats in the air. It was the dungeon core. In fact, Kai and Eris had reached inside the troll cave long before Luke's party arrived. They both had already gone down to the bottom and killed the real boss. The boss troll that Luke's party was fighting was not the real boss at all, he was just a middle boss, which was specially created to drive the intruders towards the traps and attack through the walls with his special skills. In fact, the design of the entire troll cave was even more dangerous than this. First, all the magic of the party was used by the endless trolls, and then they were eliminated by going deep inside the dungeon. Kai admitted in his mind that if he and Eris had not destroyed this dungeon, he would probably have praised this design. Neither of them had expected that Luffy's party would also enter the dungeon at the same time, so Kai kept hiding and watching them the whole time. He had heard everything with the help of land gold and skills. He heard their panic, heard the blames placed on each other, heard the decision to leave Alice to die, and also heard that Sylvie had refused to run away, but even after hearing all this, Kai's opinion about Sylvie did not change at all. In his eyes, she was still the same person who became weak at the most important time, who showed honesty only after the loss had happened. Kai says that if Sylvie really wanted to save him, she should have spoken up the day she was being thrown out of the party. Being a healer, her words mattered more than anything else to Luke. She may not have been able to win, but she should have tried, whereas she chose to remain silent until her own silence became unbearable for her. Now Sylvie herself appears ready to die. She whispers that if Kay wants to kill her, he can do so. Hearing this, Eris she calls him pathetic, and this time Kay also agrees with him, but instead he comes to Sylvie and tells her that Eris's site has been visited and he has taken this decision only for the sake of revenge, on which Sylvie asks if he is going to take revenge from those people, but Kai with a slight smile says that his thinking is not so small. He and Eris want to break not only Luke's party but the entire rotten world which has destroyed the heroes, demons, priests and cowards have given everyone the same dirty look. His old party is only a small part of that whole filth. Having said this, Kai tells him to leave from there before his mood changes. Hearing this, Eris asks him a direct question. If he really wants to take revenge from Luke's party, then why did he leave Sylvie alive? Because if he lets her go today, then it is possible that she will return to Luke and the others at any time. To which Kai says that before dying, Alice had given Sylvie one last responsibility. She wanted Sylvie to stay alive to go back and expose the whole truth about Luke's party, but Kai says in a calm voice that he has no confidence that Sylvie will be able to do this. Hearing this, Eris says that this is a stupid thing. If a hero party has broken the laws of humans, then it should not be a difficult task to go to the church and report them. To which Kai slowly shakes his head and says that it is not that simple. Luke's party has already spoken to the church. If they had honestly told that Ares had escaped from the Tower of Ruin alive, then the church would have stopped them there for the entire time. She would have given orders to search for him during the rest, but his presence in the Troll Cave today is proof that he had already reported to the church that the Tower of Ruin has been completely cleared. After this, Kai further says that if Sylvie goes and complains about them, then the church will first send Luke's party back to the same Tower of Ruin so that they correct their mistake, only then their punishment will be decided, and even if Sylvie does not say anything, then as soon as the Tower of Ruin is cleared, their bond will be visible again and will automatically be revealed to everyone, that is, whether Sylvie tells the truth or remains silent. In both the cases, Luca's party will have to return to the Tower of Ruin and Sylvie will be stuck with them in that whole matter. Then Kay adds one more thing. He says that if Sylvie wants, she can try to run away from everyone, but it will not change anything because the Church of Raiden is not just a religion, it is the same organization that keeps the entire human world together by protecting it from monsters and demons. She keeps an eye on the hero parties, decides their status, and the authority of Raiden God is also in her hands, so after knowing all this, if someone runs away from there, then he will not be able to remain free for long. After this, Kai looks directly into the eyes of Sylvie and says that looking at her, it seems as if she is completely broken with guilt, but this is not entirely true. In fact, she is more afraid of the pain caused by that mistake than the wrong deed she has done. She has never done evil intentionally. But even when there is evil in front of her, she is not able to openly stand up against it, and this was the reason that people like Luke and Rick always took advantage of her. Then Kai says that one day a person like Rick can trap her in some dirty situation, and at that time too, maybe Sylvie will just stand there without doing anything. Hearing this, Sylvie sadly says that his words are very cruel, but Kai answers without any emotion that he is not just cruel but he is telling the truth. But after this he also admits one thing. He says that the only thing that surprised him was that he never thought that Sylvie would end up moving in with Alice. Hearing this, Sylvie asks Kai replies that if he was watching everything from the beginning, then why did he let Luke and the others escape, to which Kai replies that killing such a broken party on the spot is not a matter of satisfaction for him. He had already decided where he would eliminate them. That place was the Tower of Ruin, but what angered him the most was the fact that they themselves were almost going to die before he could use them for his purpose. Kai turns towards Sylvie for the last time and says that now she can do whatever she wants, go and report everything, or remain silent or live in guilt all her life. Now it doesn't matter to Kai, but one thing disappointed him a lot. It was not that Sylvie was ever weak, but even after teaching so many things, till date she has not been able to learn to stand on her feet. Saying this, Kai turns and tells Eris that now it is time for them to leave. On the other side, the Troll Cave. After somehow escaping, Luke, Rick, Bria and Fry lock themselves inside Luke's room. All four of them just look at each other for a while. No one wanted to speak first. Eventually Rick breaks the silence. He says that there is no point in arguing anymore. They will have to report the request to the church as a failure and accept new members. But Luke immediately denies this. Failure didn't want to admit it. He also didn't want the church to know how bad their condition had become. Rick interrupted him and said that now they have no healers left. They have lost both Alice and Sylvie in the same mission, so even if they want to move forward, they can't move forward. And the church always sends new members to the hero party like him. Bria also agrees with Rick. She says that especially in the case of healers. This is absolutely true because most of the priests are prepared by the church itself, whereas the healers who roam outside the church often already have some problems associated with them, but Luke still tries to find other ways. He says that if a new member is found through a private contact or tavern, but Rick rejects this too. He explains that the church hero party controls its recruitment for a reason. If a hero party tries to avoid the church more than necessary, then people immediately start suspecting that the party is hiding something. When Luke has no answers, then the matter turns to another issue. If they have to report to the church, then after all what story will they tell? To which Rick says that the safest way would be to portray the entire incident as bad luck and a tragic accident. Bria also agrees with him. She says that a new member came to the party and then suddenly a disaster happened. If the blame for the entire collapse was put on Alice and it was said that Sylvie also died with her, then perhaps people would think it was just her bad luck and incompetence. Then Rick says that anyway Sylvie Bria's death would have ended another problem for him because she would definitely break under the pressure of guilt sooner or later. He also admits that at one time he saw a different benefit in having Sylvie in the party besides healing, but Kai had made him more cautious than necessary. Now she used to lock the door of her room every night and also put several layers of protective magic on it. Hearing this, Bria makes fun of him and says that Sylvie has taken care of her real life. After this, the four of them go to meet the branch chief of the church. Once there, Luke starts pretending to be sad very easily. He describes Alice as a brave new companion who decided to stay behind to save everyone else's life. He talks exactly like a sad hero who has lost his most precious companion. The branch chief believes everything he says. Then he sadly asks if Alice had done anything to help the party before he died. To which Luke, without pausing for a moment, replies that if Alice had not sacrificed herself, none of them would have been alive today. Hearing this, the branch chief's face falls completely, he silently bows his head and starts grieving over Alice's death. After this, he thinks about the next problem. He says that it will not be easy to find a new healer so quickly. Meanwhile, Luke and the others are about to start talking about the new members when suddenly the door of the office opens without any warning. First of all, the branch chief looks towards the door in anger while Luke's entire party turns in that direction in fear. Sylvie was standing at the door. As soon as she comes inside, she says in a clear voice that now she is completely on hearing that she will tell the truth. Luke is the first to rush towards her, but Sylvie was already prepared this time. Even before entering the room, she had cast a wand that would punish anyone who came close to her with bad intentions. The very next moment, she creates a divine barrier around herself. Luke hits her with full force, but in the same instant, he takes several steps back and falls to the other side of the room, on which Rick immediately uses magic without wasting a moment. He begins to cast, but before he can, the branch chief stops him with a stern order. Then he looks at Salawi and the first thing he asks is her name. Salawi tells her name in a clear voice, after which the branch chief says that just a moment ago he was told that she was dead. Then he asks if she somehow saved her life after bravely staying behind with Alice, to which Salawi slowly shakes her head and says no. That's the whole report. Then she starts telling all the truth one by one. She says that the party had deliberately left Alice as a bait for the monsters. Not only this, Rick himself had tied her to the ground with ice magic after her MP was exhausted. Alice died there while Sylvie was saved only because a demon spared her life. On hearing this, the atmosphere of the whole room changes, but Sylvie still does not stop. She further tells that the tower of the first report given about the ruin was also completely correct. They had definitely entered inside the tower, but its master had escaped from there alive. What is more, the demon told her that the Tower of Ruin is going to come back very soon. On hearing this, Bria immediately told Sylvie to stop. Sylvie admits that she does not have any proof in her hands at the moment, but she says that the proof itself will be revealed to everyone in some time because the demon side Triliki, what are the eyes of Minna, that Minna has taken the dungeon core from the troll cave. If this is true, then the Tower of Ruin will be rebuilt very soon, and with that, their relationship will automatically be revealed to everyone. The branch chief does not ignore her point. But he sees something else in Sylvie's words. Sylvie had said that now she will not be a part of their sins, which means that not just one but many mistakes had been made. Then Rick tries to interrupt Sylvie loudly, but this time he gives a blunt answer to Bria too. Before anyone can do anything, she pounces on Sylvie, on which the branch chief immediately uses holy light magic and Bria is saved. In the next moment, several church staff members come running in from the hall. The branch chief without any delay gives a direct order that Luke, Rick, Bria, and Free be taken into custody immediately. On hearing this, Luke is about to take out his sword, but Rick immediately stops him while Free also advises to remain calm. In his view, the situation could still have been handled if the church had interrogated them all separately and they all said the same things. No one will trust the words of Sylvie alone, on which the church actually starts interrogating all of them separately, but this decision is very heavy for their party because the entire story of Sylvie remains exactly the same from the beginning to the end, while the answers of the other four start changing again and again. Gradually, small differences start appearing in their words, but the real blow comes the next day. The very next day, the Tower of Ruin actually comes back, and just at that moment, their first report is proved to be correct. Seeing this happening, the branch chief immediately decides to take away the entire status of his hero party, but then Sylvie stops him. She says that instead of giving him direct punishment, he should take responsibility for his own mistake, hence Locke's party is put on hold again. The branch chief wanted to give him even more severe punishment, but due to political problems, he was unable to do so. Ultimately, the decision was taken that Locke's party would take responsibility for their mistake and their rank was reduced to C rank. After this, they were sent back to the Tower of Ruin. On hearing this decision, all the people in the party started attacking each other. They kept arguing among themselves for some time and then finally became completely silent. But their biggest practical problem was still not over. The church had not yet sent them a new healer, so if they had to go to the tower in Far Rind again, Salawi would have had to go with them because at the moment there was no other way other than that. This only increases their resentment even more. Then Salawi tells one more thing. She says that she did not tell the church who restored the Tower of Far Ruin. Then she directly says that all this what Kai has done is that just by hearing Kai's name, the whole party is on fire. Their fear, their shame, their defeat, and their anger all converge on one person. Within a few moments, the whole story changes in their mind, but in their eyes, he becomes the root of all their destruction. Luke catches this thought first and angrily says that Kai is the real reason for this entire disaster and now he will be the first one to be taken to account. Sylvie didn't say anything, but the disgust clearly visible on her face was telling everything. On the other hand, Kay and Eris were sitting in the master room at the top of the rebuilt Tower of Ruin. The room on the top floor of the tower was very big, warm, and had been prepared according to the comfortable life of a dungeon lord. Kay was sitting comfortably on the bed while Eris was leaning on his shoulder and looking at a crystal sphere. The relationship between the two had already become much deeper. And now none of them try to hide it. Then RC rotates the crystal sphere a bit so that Kai can also see inside it. Inside the sphere, the entire scene of Luke once again climbs inside the Tower of Ruin. Kai looks at him carefully for some time and then gives his verdict. He says that this boy is not a thief, he is an assassin, and that too not an assassin. He might have been trained for some official warrior, but the more likely possibility is that he is a human being. Many of his tricks become useless, while the same tricks prove to be very dangerous against humans. Hearing this, Ayres smiles slightly. She says that it is strange that Raiden God has created such a class which kills more humans than demon warriors. They have stopped giving them the same support as before, that is, they have brought this boy either by paying or by putting pressure or by Bria. In some dirty way, Ayres shows another thing inside the crystal sphere. She says that Sylvie is not going to change the path even to the assassin. Then he clearly says that his and Ayres' plan was never to directly kill all of them inside the tower, that way would have been very easy. All they wanted was that Luke's party should be completely stopped, his HP should be reduced. Almost from here, a black Vatex is seen opening. This was the path due to which Ayres left here last time. When the battle started going against her, she jumped from the outer roof of the tower and ran away through this path. But as soon as they look at Kai, who is standing right next to Ayres, all their faces are filled with interest, on which Kai greets them in a very polite manner, but Luck looks at him with anger. His nudge would have probably been worse than this, but Luck turns this around and says that this is the proof that expelling Kai was the right decision from the beginning, because according to him, only a rotten person would reach such a place in the end. But Luke Foreign intervenes and deflects the attack with his sword, after which soon Rick leaves Glacier Spear, but Kai catches that ice magic with a single hand, and that spell leaves a web of glass as soon as it reaches his palm. Luck cuts him with his sword, but because of that slash his speed slows down for a moment and Kai needed just that much opportunity. In the next second he uses his copied magic. Even a whirlwind has a heavy toll because he had never even imagined that his own hero magic would fall into Kai's hands. Frozen Bria standing behind him also gets hit by the same tornado and new cuts are seen all over her body. He knew very well that human magic takes a little build up before being activated even without saying a word, whereas monster skills are activated at that very moment. Kai knew Sylvie's timing so well that as soon as he read her every move, he would fire a cannon as soon as he got very close to her. The blast blows Luke up and throws him to the edge of the roof of the tower, where he drags his sword on a stone with great difficulty and falls to the ground. Rick, Bria and Sylvie are badly injured by this attack. Only Free is able to react in time. She tracks the flying Ark above and fires a piercing arrow, which causes Ark to change his position in the air, so that his hat has become bigger than these people, but now when he was looking at them from outside, that whole image slowly starts breaking. These people were not giants, they were just small-hearted, ruthless, scared and his. He says that anyway, Luffy's family was never worthy enough to reach the Demon King, and then suddenly a very slight satisfaction appears on Luffy's face. Seeing this expression, he immediately turns back, but till then he gives a lot of black knife straight. Bria enters Kai's side, to which the boy murmurs softly to himself that maybe the fight is over now. Kai falls on one knee, but the next moment the same assassin starts. Coughing in pain and like Kai in his passion, he falls straight back on the assassin. The result is that the boy dies almost at the same moment. Seeing this, Bria screams his name loudly, only then Kai is understood by everyone that this assassin wearing a mask is none other than Kai was lucky from the beginning. Bria runs towards Kai with murder in her eyes, but Kai stops her again with Medusa Eye. At the same time, Luke attacks from the front again. Kai escapes from his attack and moves to the side, while on top of that, Eris is able to avoid another thunderstorm Jira, and seeing this small movement of hers, Kai understands that after all he has learned something, because whenever a healer has a wide recovery, when someone uses a spell, he always has to be ready to be the next target, on which Sylvie without wasting a second uses her most powerful recovery magic, but Kai immediately responds by releasing Cold Breath. In the next moment, a snowstorm engulfs the entire party, or without stopping, he releases another red thorn which goes straight to Bria's side and sinks. Only then does Bria finally understand that what is Kai doing after all. Despite getting so many chances, he had given up the opportunity to kill her again and again, but Theon moves forward and tears off Bria's cheek and ear. Her painful scream echoes throughout the roof. Immediately after which Kai Gal uses Tornado. No one from either side could attack each other. Kai then looks down and tells Sylvie that she has 10 seconds to properly heal her entire party. This was also a part of his punishment. Salavi reduces his impact with that cannon, but Luke and Bria stand ready. As soon as Kai comes to the ground, both of them attack him together. But their blades pass through his body. Seeing this, Sylvie understands that Luke somehow rolls away and tries to maintain some distance. On which Sylvie asks with anger and surprise what happened to him. This man standing in front of her could not be the Kai she knew. A crown of golden thorns grips his head and slowly fades away. The purpose of this skill was not to cause damage, but the real purpose was only to cause pain. This was a skill that turns torture into magic, which Rick finally breaks down after seeing Luke fall on the roof. They run. The path leads to the black gate that connected the roof to the inside of the tower. But when he gets there, he finds that Vatex has already disappeared as Kai has regained his old self, and he starts breaking down even faster than the others. Just then Sylvie comes and stands in front of him. On which Kai slashes him once and then hits him with another slash, but deliberately does not cut so deep that he dies. It keeps attacking the bird but doesn't land even a single blow. Eventually he releases magma eruption using hero magic. To which Kai immediately releases a glowing vine towards Eris. Eris catches him and tells Kai as ballast that the tower core has already received enough. The dungeon has gained its power well from their fear, despair, and hopelessness. Hearing this, Sylvie, trembling with the pain of Golden Thorn, asks what he means, to which Sylvie asks him, what is the difference between him and those people whom he hated so much, to which Kai says that there is no clear answer to this question. In this world, people kill those who pose a threat to them, and this one flies into Rick's eye. His body trembles once and then becomes silent forever. Kai looks at her dead body but does not feel any satisfaction. But Kai reflects another of his powerful attacks with Dragon Slayer stance. The force brought by Lot is so terrible that Luck's entire right hand gets separated from his body and flies away. Airs flying above laughs and says that the heroes were not completely dead yet. After all, even after the hero party members' HP was 0, they did not die instantly. Luke and the others weren't quite dead yet. Even after the hero party members' HP was 0, some HP was continuously depleting. Luke, on the other hand, was completely devastated. He was sitting on the ground mumbling something. Seeing this, Kai raises his hand to end all this forever. But then suddenly the thought comes to his mind that he is going to die, and then suddenly the sky starts changing. Dark clouds, they grow into two parts and long rays of golden light start descending from between them. At the same time, everyone around Trum falls to his knees on the ground, then a golden beam descends directly on the Look, on which the whole world remains frozen. But only the Look starts moving inside that light pillar. In the next moment his entire body comes into its own and only his greatness is visible. He raises both his hands towards the sky and starts praying to the Raiden god to give him enough strength to kill the person who is sided with a demon. He says that in return he will give many times more pain to God's enemies than if he gives everything he has. Then that branding is completed. A large golden mark on his hand is scarred forever, which is still shining. After this the golden light disappeared because at that moment the Look had moved again. His sword, which had earlier fallen on the ground, flies back into his hand without being touched. Seeing this, Kei immediately uses his status reading skills. But seeing the result, that Look suddenly changes. Kei cannot even see its beginning. He only realizes this when the sword has already passed through his body. The only good thing was that physical nullification saves him again. He had understood that he would not be able to escape from Luck's next spell because Luck's intelligence had now increased 10 times. His next spell could destroy not only the roof but everything far away from it, on which golden light had already gathered when Kai ran away. Kai drops his short blade, because now he was going to use the skill which was the root of all his power. Steel Star. The next moment, with only one of his fingers glowing, he tries to attack once again. His speed was so fast that even the eyes could not follow him. But Kai had already prepared the Dragon Slayer stance. Luke's 10 times more powerful physical attack on him with double the force makes the world spin before his eyes and he starts feeling as if someone has torn his brain from inside. He knew this pain very well. This was the price of Steel Star. Every time whenever he stole a skill, he didn't even care about it. To which Kai somehow tells him that he had snatched Luke's same Mart hero magic from him and then destroyed him with the same reflected attack. If he had tried to escape at that time, it was almost certain that he would have died. This will pass. After saying this, Sylvie suddenly yells at Kai to look back as Luke's dead body started rising again. First of all the bruised mark on his hand appears. Then the miasma creates a barrier to keep the rest of the body standing like this. On the other hand, Silawi is also somehow able to erect her holy barrier in time. After this Kai checks the status of that thing. But after seeing the result he realizes that the Look no longer exists. In front of him the head uses one of the new stolen spells. Kai then uses his newly stolen spell, Apocalypse Edge. In the next moment, black lightning falls down like a spear from the sky and a large part of the entire roof is destroyed. Remember the spell Invincible, the same skill Mark Look had used earlier, on which Airs also responds with her cold magic, but it also has no effect on that corpse. Then that corpse suddenly starts moving, but its movement was not normal at all, its whole body was moving with jerks as if some unseen force was moving it. Despite pulling on the threads, his speed was still very scary. Kai immediately checks his status. He realizes that the invincible effect will still be active for a full 17 seconds, after which its cooldown will be 30 seconds. This means that Kai was left with only one difficult choice. He had to survive for the next 17 seconds without taking a single direct hit, and then as soon as Invincible ended, he had to kill him before he could. Kai was able to use the same impossible spell again. Kai knew very well how dangerous it was to face those spells. He had no easy solution, but then Kai was informed about a dirty but working method, on which he immediately shouted to Ares, "Dungeon." And Sylvie start working together without any hesitation. Sylvie first uses Holy Bind. At the same time, Kai throws Sticky Web at her, then he uses Medusa Eye, but this time it fails, after which Sylvie immediately uses Weakening Holy Mark and this time the attack is successful. For the next few seconds, the entire physical strength of that core is destroyed, now she cannot even break the web. Pata takes advantage of this opportunity and Airs opens the dungeon gate under his feet. In the next moment, dark vortex swallows the entire branded corpse and drags it inside the dungeon. But the dungeon gate could not be closed as long as there was a living target present inside it. If it was left like this, then as soon as the corpse became capable of moving again, it could come out again. Thinking this, Kai without any delay jumps inside the dungeon after it. The next moment he reaches a small obsidian room. The same branded cops were already present in front of him, but this time his condition was completely different. As soon as the unseen force that was moving him disappeared, he became almost helpless. Only the branded mark on his hand was trying to rise up again and again, as if the same brand was trying to make the whole body move again. The whole body starts moving towards the gate while dragging, but K does not give him the slightest chance. Red releases Thon, which passes straight through Branded's hand. Thon sinks deep into the glowing mask. Brand resists for a few moments, but then it cracks. In the next second, a loud sound echoes throughout the room and Brand shatters completely. As soon as this happens, Corpse's remaining fake movements also vanish. His entire body dries up and turns into black sand. Seeing this, Kai regains his reading skills. Wants to confirm by using it, but now there was no valid target left. Look, this time it was really over forever, on which Kai bats right there. After a while, Eris and Sylvie also come inside the dungeon gate. Eris first asks him if she is fine, to which Kai says that somehow Sylvie is alive. She is also happy there. Kay calls him an idiot as to why she came here instead of running away, but Sylvie directly replies that she could not have flown off the roof, and anyway she had no safe place to run away. After this, when everyone calms down a bit, all three together start understanding what just happened. They come to know that the branded corpse was not even thinking on its own. As soon as he came inside the dungeon, the power above controlling him was cut off from him. This only meant that the influence of Raiden God could not reach inside the dungeon properly. Hearing this, Ayers becomes very serious. She always thought that the final battlefield should be outside the dungeon so that the dungeon master can run away if needed, but now she has to admit that why do the dungeon rulers always wait in the deepest place, on which Kai says that if they are really planning to kill the Demon King one day, then such information is for them. This is very important. After this, Ayers looks at Sylvie and says that there is no need to kill her now. The tower has already taken a lot of energy due to the collapse of the hero party. Now one more human life will not make much difference, but instead of saying thank you, Sylvie asks a different question. She was tied up, had become very weak, due to which now Sylvie was able to understand the demon language. Hearing this, Sylvie admits that the hatred that had arisen automatically inside her for Ayers is now stronger than before. The cabbie says that something similar has happened to her too, then Ayers asks her what she wants to do next, to which Sylvie speaks with more pride than expected. She says that big things like gods, Demon King, and saving the world were never real for her. Their hero party used to talk about holy purpose, but most of its members never lived for that goal. Perhaps in the end Luke himself started believing in his own words, but everyone else only talked about the name of the hero. CLV was used to hide her selfishness, after which she finally reveals the real reason, due to which she had come to the tower to apologize to Kai. Hearing this, Kai's face becomes hard. He asks her if she thinks that by just saying sorry, everything that happened will be erased, or does she just want to lighten the burden on her heart, on which Sylvie does not defend herself. She admits that in the beginning she really had this selfish thought in her mind, but the more she thought about it, the more she started feeling dirty in her thoughts, so she changed her statement. Granted, now she was not asking for cheap forgiveness but rather a chance to atone for her sins. She says that even if that atonement ends with her death at the hands of Kai, she would still accept it. Then she tells the truth that she deliberately omitted some things from the church and told some things in such a way that Luke's party would be forced to come back to this restored tower. She had done all this because she wanted Luke and the others to reach the same place where Kai was waiting for them. Hearing this, even Kai is unable to deny this, only then Eris says that if Sylvie now wants to live with them, then she will have to be open, she will be kept with Kai only, she will be given strict training and will be tied to Kai so strongly that neither any human nor any demon can use her, mislead her, or make Kai weak. Hearing this, Kai immediately protests, but Eris ignores her completely. She says clearly that if Sylvie continues to be such a scared girl, she will become an easy prey for anyone in the demon territory. Kai was still against keeping Sylvie with him, but then Sylvie slowly moves her palm forward. In her hand is the same pendant which was broken earlier and was now joined again. That ceramic locket was cracked at several places and was looking a little tattered, but all its broken pieces were put together and handled with great care. Seeing this, Kai gets upset and just keeps looking at her. Then he asks Sylvie if she has done all this, to which Sylvie softly says yes. She tells that after the pendant broke, she took all its pieces one by one before throwing them in the air. On hearing this, Kai's stubbornness starts breaking slowly. Then Sylvie asks him another question. She wants to know that if the Demon King had killed his entire family, then why did he choose the demon side, to which Kai, without pausing for a moment, replies that he never sided with the Demon King, he only chose to side with heirs. Hearing this, Sylvie immediately understands everything. Kai also takes a deep breath. He realizes that now he will not be able to keep Sylvie away from him, especially not after seeing that pendant, so finally he gives her a place to live with him. He says that Sylvie will also join him and take revenge from the Demon King, on which Sylvie agrees to his wish without any hesitation. After this, Ayers also comes forward and says that if Sylvie will stay with them now, then she herself will take the responsibility of making him strong. Hearing this, Kai turns towards both of them. On the other hand, after completely absorbing Luke's despair, the Tower of Ruin had become more powerful than before. Looking from its top floor, it seemed that very soon the entire surrounding region would be drowned in the miasma, because the miasma not only made people crazy but also turned them against each other, and if anyone remained in contact with it for a long time, then eventually he himself would die. Seeing all this, the nearby church turns into a monster, and Branches also gives up hope of saving the entire area. Meanwhile, Alice's report brings new information. She learns that the church is now planning to shift the altar core to a more safe city, but before that, Kai had already saved Alice. He had pulled her back from the very edge of true death by using the Clang skill, due to which Alice is saved alive. After this money and due to some pressure, she finally agrees to their request and gets ready to become a spy for them by staying on the human side. At last, Kai stands on the top of the tower and first looks at the entire city below. Sylvie is also standing very close to him, and then in front of both of them, the next target finally becomes visible.